the show was kind of impromptu. Anybody we could get.
Yeah, I'll just shoot you. We got to get back to the car. I'll just shoot you walking for B-roll.
Right. I mean, anybody that we could get. Don't get run over, man. Anybody that we could get, whether they were movie star, rock star, or comedian, we had on Turn On, because the way Turn On ran, I could film during the week whatever I wanted. Then we ran like a Bowery Boys movie or an Abbott and Costello movie, and we had a Flash Gordon chapter. That's why we had Buster Crabbe there, but he was hawking swimming pools. That's why he had a Buster Crabbe swimming pool. Let's go across the street. And we filmed it during the week, and when the show was over, they played the national anthem. I could go till 2 o'clock in the morning, I could go till 4 o'clock. I could go to one week I went to 6. It just depends on how much material I had. And the acts played live. I mean, we had some group called Lighthouse, did like an hour or something. I think the Eyes of March did like an hour, the guys that had Vehicle. We taped it and we ran it. And when the thing was over, they played the national anthem. It would come on every Saturday night at 11 o'clock. And it went for about 3 years.
That's really hip.
Oh, it was very hip, considering it's 1970. This stuff was way ahead of Don Kirshner and Midnight Special, which started about 3 or 4 years after me. Yeah. So let me ask you a question. You're doing a documentary on the bands, or specifically on the Wheaton Youth Center?
Well, it's more or less the emergence of the concert industry and the convergence of of everything from radio to records to AOR to the concert industry being virtually invented.
Watch out.
Yeah, it was invented, in my opinion. I mean, certainly as we know it today, before it was became this corporate power structure now. So I'm kind of charting that through the efforts of people like yourself and others in this region, and it's kind of replicated all over the country.
Well, what there used to be, at least from '69 on, there was one guy who had one city. Larry Maggot had Philadelphia. He had the Electric Factory. Ron Delsner and Howard Stein had New York City. I had Washington, and then really I had Baltimore too, because there was no major facility here. We used to do the Baltimore Civic Center, and there was a guy named Frank Barcelona who controlled Premier Talent, and Barbara Skydell. They had all the British acts, and that's how I even ran into Elliot. It's all about.
Don't tell me, Sir Lord Baltimore.
Yep. Sir Lord Baltimore's uncle was Dee Anthony, who managed Tony Bennett and Jay Giles and Humble Pie and I don't know whoever else. I ran them somewhere, I think the Falls Church Community Center, and I did about 1,000, 1,200 people. I don't know. I mean, the prices were ridiculous. I don't know how I made any money. I don't know how the band made any money. But that one show, Dee Anthony and Frank Barcelona came down to, and they saw all the people that I drew for this. They asked me if I wanted to do English bands, if I wanted to promote. That's how I got in with Black Sabbath. That was my first show that I actually paid for. Before that, they were all record promotion dates. He asked me if I wanted to do these acts, and I said, yeah, but I got no money. I mean, I'm a kid. I mean, I'm 24 years old, 25, whatever. I had no money. And I think we paid Black Sabbath $7,500. I don't remember. But this was before Ticketmaster. And so what we did, we sold tickets at like places like Hang Ups and the Slack Shack, and people who bought time, Variety Records, Giant Music, people who bought time on my radio show. We gave them some traffic by selling tickets, and every night Bud Becker would go out, who was my partner, and pick up the money from these locations. So I could send the deposit for Black Sabbath, for Humble Pie. I could pay for the Psychedelic Power and Light Company. I could pay for the staging, for the sound. We literally did this with no money. The first one. And the first show, we did 8,000 people, 4,000 in the afternoon and 4,000 at night. And that I'm sure you've heard this story, or Elliot's told you, it was Black Sabbath and Humble Pie, And Ozzy refused to play the second show because he thought the roller rink, the sound sucked. And outside we had 4,000 people, and back then people were a little violent, meaning they were going to trash the joint if we didn't let them in, or they wanted their $4 back or $5. I didn't have it. I paid it. Watch out, there's a step.
Thanks.
I paid it to the bands. So he wanted to leave, so I pulled a gun on him. And I said, you're crazy. I mean, you know, this is my future. I mean, if you leave and they bust this joint down, I didn't have insurance then. You know, that was before the first show I did without insurance. Then I realized after that I needed insurance. So I scared him. You know, he thought that I was bullshitting. I shot the thing in the ground. Okay, and so he played, but he was scared of me. And until, I guess about 7 or 8 years ago, my son, who passed away, rest in peace, Stevie, managed and discovered Slipknot. He got tight with Sharon because Slipknot used to be on the Ozfest, was actually the main attraction. We reconciled, and I talked to him now. I've been over to their house a couple times. But he thought I was crazy, that I was actually going to whack him. I wouldn't have killed him, but... And this is before Sharon even managed him. This is when Sharon's father was his manager, who was some kind of Jewish mafia guy from England who called up threatening me about whatever I did to Ozzy.
Well, I could, you know, this is great. I didn't anticipate this right now. I mean, this
Well,
is
all right, well,
wonderful.
forget it. I mean,
No. I'm thrilled. You know, this is great. I actually like the shot. But I mean, that was just the,
That was the first major show that I did where I actually put money. Before that, I'm doing things with the Hangman, the Flavor. Warner Brothers used to have a touring company. And there was a guy named Carl Scott. And what they did was they would bring the groups around, and you could get the door just as long as you promoted them. There was no venues. Nobody was running it. So I did a lot of their whack stuff. I did Captain Beefheart and the Magic Band. I did Ry Cooder. I mean, that's how I met Shep Gordon and got in with Alice Cooper, was through those guys. Those are all promotional bands that were just getting started. But when we did Black Sabbath, people, you know, Iron Man was big at the time, and Humble Pie, and I Don't Need No Doctor, and Hole in the Wall or something. What was it? Hole in the...
40 Days in the Hole.
40 Days in the Hole, right. Nobody plays any Humble Pie either anymore.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't bring an overshirt. I was like...
Ballet.